The Nobels ODR1 overdrive is a lesser-known classic overdrive until recent years, mainly rising to popularity in the Nashville scene. There are only a few other circles, if any to my knowledge, that actively endorse the pedal. With a constant low boost and a strange tone control called Spectrum, it stands out being truly different from the majority of drive pedals. This is the mini version that comes in a 1590A style metal enclosure. Since it's mini, it can't be battery powered. However, it can still be 9, 12, and 18 volt DC powered. This pedal sells for $80 new, and looking on Reverb, they are currently typically listed for around $60 plus shipping. Hello everyone, and today we're going to be talking about the Nobels ODR1. Now this is another classic overdrive, though it's not quite as well known as the Tube Screamer, which we just did a video about. But yeah, it's another green overdrive pedal, but this one is very different. So this one is, I don't know very much for facts about this pedal, but this one is apparently well known and loved in the Nashville scene. I believe the electric Telecaster country solo style playing, if I were to guess, because this pedal is inherently thick. Now that means that there's going to be a lot of bass, and that's why there is no tone control on this pedal. There is only the spectrum control, and I believe that's because there is different technology in it. I don't remember if that's correct or not, but there's different technology in the way that it changes the tone, and there's pretty much always bass in it. And it's so instead of like when you go up to the treble side, it's not going to be this piercing sound, at least not completely all on its own. But at the same time, that makes it end up being kind of weird compared to other more average pedals. So with that out of the way, let's talk about some of the stuff that's going to be going on here. Before we get into the pedal, I am recording with a lav mic. I have not done this before for one of these videos. I have only recorded it for a review, so I'm trying it out. Sorry if it sounds weird. We have two microphones, one in the room, one up close. So one is backed off about like 5 feet or so, and so that's going to give you more of a listening experience if you were in the room, and then the close mic is going to give you more of a recorded sound, and I try to put it in as neutral of a spot as possible. We are recording on the Boss Katana 2x12 amp cabinet, or combo amp, on the panel channel, so that everything is set to noon except for everything is set to noon, including gain, except for effects and volume. That's where it's set where it needs to be. And then we're going to be recording on a Strat style guitar. It's one of my favorites. This one is a cheaper guitar, but it plays fairly well, and it's one of my favorites. So hopefully my hair is going to get in the way of this microphone and probably start rubbing up against it, huh? So let's go with a clean tone. There's a relative idea of our clean tone. So we are going to start with the pedal on 9 volts. Some people did recommend me to plug 18 volts into the Tube Screamer, but unfortunately I'm a little worried about it, because even though I did some research, it said that most Tube Screamers should be able to take 19 volts or 18 volts. Mine on the back of the pedal on the information does not say, it says 9 volts specifically usually. So I don't know. This, however, does say that it can take 9, 12, and 18 volts, and it recommends experimenting with it. Now, I had to rip my power supply off the bottom of my pedal board to be able to get 18 volts and be able to switch it nicely. We're starting off with 9 volts. That's what the majority of the review is going to be. But then we're going to see how 18 volts changes the drive sound. Right now, we're going to start with the drive all the way down and the spectrum turned to noon. So right now we have the level turned all the way up, but we're going to have to turn that pretty far down because the drive control gives this pedal a lot more volume. But for the way that I have my microphone set up for the more gainy stuff, I don't know, this is the maximum volume right now. So this is just how it sounds on its own, basically as a boost. That doesn't sound right. I tuned up, but this, I think it's just this string though. Alright, whatever. I wanted to play some cowboy chords since it is a beefier pedal and it seems it's more meant for rhythm, though I guess it can also be for thickening up a solo. One observation, however, I did make is that unfortunately it kind of, when I was trying to drive stack it with some distortion, so use this in front of a distortion pedal, it kind of just was weird with distortion. Then again, I think I was using it into a Line 6 Spider, which the EQ on that amplifier messes with pretty much all pedals, so I might have to experiment with that afterwards and leave a pinned comment, and update that. That was basically in a boost function, so that it was it's as minimal coloration as possible from the pedal, though it probably does add some. It also might add a little grit, who knows. But now we're going to turn the volume down a bit and we're going to turn up the drive. We're going to turn up the drive to about, what is that? Every time, 9 o'clock. So as you can see, now the volume has not been able to reach maximum. So this is about where we need to record. This is about where we need to record at our level. thing is still on? I hate this freaking thing. It's going. I don't know what's up with that string. It just seems off, but sometimes it's correct. I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. So not much grit added at that point. It is still just a kind of even more boost. There's a little bit of grit on the power chord area when you get some real beefy chords, but other than that, not a whole lot. So yeah, still pretty much just in boost territory. So let's turn the drive up to about 1030. Continuing to turn the drive back, I was noticing a little bit of grit there on some more high velocity, oh my god, what's the right word? High impact, high dynamic. I can't remember the word right now, but basically when you play loud on some high impact strumming, there's some grit. That's what I'm trying to say. God. Damn it. I don't know, something like that. I'm out of stuff to drink. I need water. So that was the drive at about the 1030 position. So yeah, we were getting a little bit of grit there. When you play, getting a bit more grit that's a little more pronounced. It just barely kind of warbles and kind of distorts when you play your thicker strings. It was very quiet and unnoticeable before, only very lightly before, but this one is, you know, when you really dig in, then you get some grit. So let's turn the drive to noon. So yeah, getting there. So that's one thing I can say about this pedal is I actually kind of do like the way that it distorts, because it labels itself as a natural overdrive, I think. So I don't know exactly what that means. I've never seen the schematic for the Nobles ODR1, but my suspicion is that means it would just be adding volume and then slamming into another component. So basically, if you have two transistors are very common things that are used to amplify and do a lot of different things, but amplify is one of them. So if you have your one transistor on the end, this might be backwards for you guys, but if you have your one transistor on the end and you leave it at a static like volume level, and then you take your first one and then you raise the volume and boost the hell out of that one and lead it into that other one, you're gonna probably start clipping the signal and create natural distortion, which if you don't tame it properly and EQ it and do other filtering, it can sound pretty bad and not what you want. But I'm guessing they have put some of those precautions in this, but that's my guess on how that works. But yeah, I do like, despite the tone and the tone knob kind of conflicting with a lot of the tones that I like, I do really like the drive circuit and distortion that this can provide, because it can get pretty gainy too. This could stand alone as a kind of light distortion pedal once you get it turned up. But let's see that, you know. So we're gonna turn the drive up to about 130. Ooh, I can hear a major volume boost there. And as you turn the distortion up, the drive, it does seem like it gets quite a bit more bassy, kinda, which is also lends credence to that beefy, you know, well-rounded sound, you know, the bass-driven sound that could be good in a Nashville mix. But yeah, let's just hear it. So you get a very nice drive at this level. It seems that this kind of like 75% to this 130 area seems to be a really good spot for a lot of drive pedals, because it doesn't get too saturated that it goes into distortion territory, yet it's saturated enough that it just has that grit that truly makes, I think, overdrive special compared to being a distortion or being a boost pedal. So yeah, everything was getting saturated. You have some slight saturation on solo notes, and you have these nice, thick, creamy, gritty chords and, thicker notes, used guitarist terms. I think that's what this pedal aims to do, is to not over push any frequency, yet have try and have it most of it be present. With that being said, let's turn it to the 3 o'clock position. Let's turn the drive to 3 o'clock position. Something like that. I don't know what to play half of the time, any of the time really. So you just get stuff like that where it just either it sounds good or it doesn't. So yeah, just getting up there in the drive, just getting thicker and thicker because I think I don't know if it's just because it's pushing more signal, so the bass is just happens to get louder the way that they designed it, or if that was intentional. But that's the way it seems. It just seems like the bass is getting put in there a lot more, especially compared to other drive pedals, because normally in a guitar signal you kind of want to take bass away because oftentimes if you add too much bass you're just kind of flubbing out the mix and things get farty when you try and make a song. But I don't know. I don't know exactly how this works. Apparently it's worked many times before, so it should work again, you'd think. So with that being said, there's a lot of things that I say over and over again to transition, isn't there? Let's turn the drive pedal, let's turn the drive knob all the way up to maximum. This pedal gets so bassy that it starts to rumble the room quite a bit, especially at the volume that I have. I think I have it a bit louder than I normally do. So, decent distortion. There's been for a while through this knob, I think since the 12th, the 12 o'clock position, there's this kind of like neat little like feedback that happens kind of when you mess up notes, when you like kind of like accidentally mute them like halfway. It's usually when I'm playing, some of my 2-finger chords, and then I block out some of these higher notes and I kind of hit them on accident when I'm doing larger strums or, But yeah, that was pretty cool. Very neat. So to move forward, we're going to turn the drive back to about that 130 position to kind of try and get that overdriven sweet spot. Very cool. So now we're going to mess with the Spectrum knob. Now something cool about the Spectrum knob is that so another word for knob is potentiometer, because that's what the technical term for a knob is a potentiometer. And this potentiometer is what's called, I don't remember the exact word, but I think it's like indented, which means that there is some resistance at the very middle of the potentiometer, so at noon. So it makes sure that you know exactly where you are for that noon position. So it's kind of hard to understand without feeling it, but basically it's just a little harder and there's a little more resistance when you hit that middle position, so that you know where that is and that you're at it. So that if you want to turn it perfectly to noon, you sit right in that position and it will kind of, resist being pulled out of there, but not so much that it's like difficult or going to break it or something. Anyway, let's start with the dark side, because I don't remember how the dark side of this pedal reacts, and I don't remember how it sounds, but since this is already such a bassy pedal, I don't know how this dark side or Spectrum is going to be. Maybe instead of going on the actual low end, maybe it'll go more mids toned, and then maybe there'll be highs on the high end. I don't know. Let's see. So let's just try and do a middle position between maximum and middle. So it's not quite like 1:30, but it's also not, or it's not quite 10:30, but it's also not 9 o'clock. So this is just going to hopefully get through this knob faster and just get a better feel of how it sounds. Let's hear it. So this is what I kind of mean about the Spectrum control, because now we're also not even like super far into the knob, like turning it on the dark side, but that wasn't very dark, honestly. It's kind of hard. The Spectrum control is kind of a mystery to me. I don't know exactly what it does, but I don't know. Let's turn it to maximum dark. Technically, maybe it'll be dark, maybe it won't be, and let's see how it sounds just to try and figure it out better. That ending never sounds right to me. So, it did seem like it got darker, but it's weird because like not a lot actually changed, but at the same time there was a difference. So I guess you definitely can say that there was a precedent for saying spectrum instead of tone control. It's hard to tell. Maybe it's like slowly shifting a peak so that some signal on the high end is being cut out slowly the more you turn it to the bass side, and then the peak is slowly moving like a hill on an EQ graph over. I don't know, but let's turn it back to noon and see how that sounds. Again, get a refresher. And I turn it perfectly back to noon because of that resistance. Alright, refresher. We've been refreshed. Let's turn it to kind of that halfway position between noon and maximum for the bright side now. It's kind of hard to tell where that is from this angle, but we're gonna play it there and see how that sounds. So, this side is a little more pronounced, to me at least, compared to the dark side. Oh, was my hair all up in that the whole time? But yeah, that was more pronounced. And, God, it's weird because I just still don't understand what's happening, but it definitely sounds like a little bit more bass was taken out compared to usual. But yet it still sounds full-rounded, or well-rounded, you know, whatever the right word is. It's just such an interesting quote-unquote tone control. Let's turn it all the way up and see what happens. So there's a lot more of that static coming through, which is normal. It gets a bit louder, at least the perceived loudness is louder. I never liked that ending, I don't know why. So, we've pretty much seen all that there is to see, at least until we unplug and plug in the 18 volts. So, yeah, I still don't really know what it's doing. It definitely, this has given us a little more high-end and sparkle to the sound, but it is still well-rounded for the most part. It's a little much at the maximum, but still, it's not even horrible, like horrendous, and you could probably tame it with other EQs as well. So I've probably been going super long, so let's just unplug this pedal and plug it in to 18 volts and see how it sounds. Let's turn off the amplifier first. I'm also going to turn the tone back to noon, the spectrum back to noon, sorry. And so I changed which direction these are going to go. My plug is going to go. So I made the 18 volt the L type on that end. So at the same distortion level, at that nice gritty level that we like, let's see how it sounds with 18 volts. Now 18 volts is supposed to give it more headroom and typically less distortion, but we'll see. The volume seems to have somehow dropped. I think that might be because I didn't turn up the volume after the tone control. turn the distortion all the way up. Okay, so that was interesting. Now, I don't know the exact difference between the tones. My guess is that it's just not as gritty, but it did get a nice distortion and grit to it. But God, I have to put this somewhere else because it's too high up close to my hair and shit. Yeah, I think that it's just a really cool pedal. This is obviously the mini version, so there's no way to put a battery in it. At least if they really wanted to, they might have been able to, but it's very hard, and it's not possible with this. I think in the original big version, I don't know if this one has it as well, but I think there were trimmer pots inside the pedal that were able to be twisted and adjust some of the parameters that way, even though this has all the same phase controls. Like I said, I don't know if this one has that, but yeah, it's just a really, I don't know how to describe it besides an interesting overdrive, because it doesn't function the same way that many overdrives do, and it's not quite as simple and cut and dry as many other overdrives are. Because overdrive is typically a kind of simple effect, but I think that there was a little more thought that went into this. Yeah, at the same time, for my uses, it's not quite what I'm looking for, but I do like the pedal. It's a good pedal. And the question is it worth $80? This one is $80 new. Mine is used, but yeah. And then a full-sized one, I believe, is $120. But it has a nice battery door on the top, I think, or that's where you adjust the trimmer pots, something like that. It has a nice enclosure for the full-size version, so the extra $40 could be worth it. But yeah, like I said, I got this one used for like around $60. I don't know if this is just mine. I should have said this at the beginning, but mine has a pretty crunchy and not great sounding foot pedal. I don't know if this is on all of them, especially the minis, but because the full size is in a Boss style enclosure, so that one's probably got like the electrical button switch. But yeah, this one is pretty crunchy, very clicky. Very unsatisfying click, basically, which is kind of rare, and that's why I'm a little surprised to see it on this pedal. Even on like cheaper foot switches, they usually feel a little better than that. Another small feature that I forgot to mention is that these I don't know if you can see it, but these potentiometer caps glow. These are slightly tinted green, and that's because they are the typical glow-in-the-dark material, but I don't remember if they can be charged off of normal light. I think they might be able to, but it takes a really long time with normal light. But sunlight would probably work way better. But that's just another small little feature that's really cool. Kind of some of the MXR pedals do that, I think. Some other cheaper pedals do that, like the Coco Overdrive. But yeah, very cool. And the pedal is just got a lot of pros to it. The only con is possibly that spectrum control compared to what you want and what your uses are. Because I play a lot of more rock style stuff, which is very mids and highs focused. If you have too much low end in high gain distortion, you can get real muddy really fast. So I think that that's a possibility on why this doesn't stack well with distortions, but I will try and experiment with that in the future and see how that works. So I do recommend this pedal. And I don't think there's many clones of the pedal, so there's not many ways to get it cheaper, but you could get it used for like $60 like me, but they're kind of rare to be seen, at least in as far as I've seen, they're kind of rare on the used market, especially for that lower amount. The only clone I know of is the Nobleman by Tone City, I believe it's called, and you have to get that from the UK, like Andertons or something like that. They're not in the Americas very easily yet, unless you can find one of those used, which then people normally charge you at, $50 for those pedals, but Andertons is also going to charge you shipping, so you got to be careful of that. So if you can get like free shipping here at like $50, then it's kind of worth it. I don't know. It's really hard for it. I don't know if I can ever say if these pedals are worth it, especially when they buy them full price. I rarely ever buy anything full price, so it's hard for me to advocate buying something full price. But this is a unique drive, and I think it's cool. I think it's good. I think that you should definitely look for it used, and even if you get it used, it's $60 used, and then you probably have to pay like $10 shipping at least. So you're only saving so much from the $80, and then you can usually get free shipping from either I think Sweetwater does free shipping on pedals. I might be wrong, and then you could probably also get it on Amazon, which I might have affiliate links in the description. So who knows? I like it. I've rambled on about this too long. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and leave me a comment saying how bad or good I did. Tell me if you like the lavalier microphone. I don't know how I feel about it still. This channel is normally a music channel, so we normally do guitar pedals, drum related stuff. I got a bass guitar recently, so I might be able to do some bass stuff, but it's very unlikely. I'm not good at bass. But we also do some other random stuff from here and there. I did some Lego stuff. You can just barely see it, my little Lego Squire Strat here, or it's just a Strat, but whatever. And then I also have done a lot of 3D printing in the past. So if all of that sounds good, please consider subscribing, and that's all I have to say for now. So I'm gonna say bye-bye.